This is chapter 14 of The Car. They didn't head west out of Omaha. It was early morning and Terry followed Wayne while he went to the courthouse, took the title papers from Terry, and went inside. 20 minutes later, he came out with license plates. They put them on the cat, and Wayne took a pen from his saddlebags and signed the place on the title that transferred ownership. All you do is keep the title in my name. When you're ready to change it, later, you sign your name on it and take it to the courthouse where you live, and they'll transfer the title back to you. He trailed off, looked at Waylon. North, right? Waylon nodded, and Wayne fired the Harley up, and they moved down side streets until they came to a highway heading north of Omaha before noon. Still, Terry noted, without eating. It was a beautiful day, however, hungry or not, and nice to be moving. The wind whipping around the cockpit while they followed Wayne on the Harley. Hungry? Waylon asked when they were well clear of the city. Terry nodded. I could eat roadkill. Just a minute. Wayne turned and rummaged in a side pocket of his pack and came up with a package of trail mix. Terry hated trail mix. It made him feel like he was eating dry cereal with no sugar milk on it. But he took some He took some that Waylon poured in his hand and munched it. It tasted delicious, almost sweet. But there was too little of it, and Waylon had put the bag back in his pack. Can we have more? Terry pointed at the pack with his thumb. I'm still hungry. He was surprised to see Waylon shake his head. You want to stay hungry. From here on, you want to stay hungry. Terry pulled out to pass the truck. I do. Why? To learn, Waylon said. You always stay hungry to learn. You get full, you get sleepy. Lazy. You get lazy, you don't learn. What are we going to learn driving on a highway? Waylon laughed. Anything you want to know. But what? That's the question, isn't it? What do you want to know? I don't know. Waylon peered at him, then back at the windshield. Back out the windshield. I don't believe it. There's nothing you want to know? Well, sure. Lots of things. But I can't think of them now. Not one thing. Terry frowned. Well, all right. Why are we heading north? I thought we were going to go west. We're heading north because Wayne is heading north and we're following him. Why is he heading north? Waylon shrugged. I guess there's something he wants to know up north. What? I don't know. We'll follow him and find out. That's how you truck. You don't necessarily get anywhere. You just go. And go they did. Wayne kept the northern pace for almost 2 hours, over 100 miles, before stopping for gas. They were just past Sioux City, Iowa, when they stopped. Terry filled the cat while Wayne gently put gas in Baby, then walked over while Waylon paid. He still wouldn't let Terry pay. Why are we heading north? Terry asked. Because that's where Samuel is, Wayne said. His hair had been in the open wind all the while. There was no windshield on Baby, and both his hair and beard were blown back and stuck full of bugs. Who is Samuel? Samuel is somebody you have to meet if you want to understand America. He's far out. Waylon came out then with Cokes for all three of them, and a package of donuts. They stood by the pumps and the car and bike, eating donuts and drinking Coke. Terry could feel the sugar tear into him, but when he'd had only one donut, Waylon closed the sack and put it in the car. Enough. They headed out again. Once they were in traffic and the cat was up to speed in back of the Harley, Waylon leaned over. You find out why we're heading north? I figured you'd ask. Terry shrugged. He wants to meet somebody named Samuel. Who's Samuel? Waylon smiled. Samuel is somebody you have to meet if I want to learn about America. Yeah, you said that too. Far out, Waylon said, smiling. And he said that too. Right on. We'll go until dark and then camp. Drive on, Macduff. Camping was more formalized with Wayne along. Darkness caught them at a campground just off Yankton, South Dakota, down along a river under tall elms. The campground was deserted except for one pickup camper with a couple that sat inside watching television on a small set that made a blue-gray glow out the windows of the camper. Waylon was ready to just pull the tarp up and sleep in the car, as they'd done the first night out, but Wayne shook his head. No way. That was old stuff. Letting the weather have you. We've got some class now. Wayne opened the duffel bag and pulled out a cylindrical waterproof bag that contained a 3-man tent. Bought it last year at a rummage sale, he said, just in case I decided to go trucking. We sleep in the open, but if it rains, we can move inside. The tent was comprised of slipped-together fiberglass rods that carved to make an igloo shelter and was up in minutes. And a fire, Wayne said. We need a fire in that pit. You handle that, he added, pointing to Terry. Terry looked for scraps of wood and didn't find any until he located a rack left by the Chamber of Commerce loaded with cut firewood, pieces already split and dried for campers. He carried some over to the concrete pit with an iron grate on top and dropped them. I don't have any matches. Later, Wayne said, positioning the tent well away from the fire. First shelter, then food. Waylon had set up his stove and was working at a meal by the time Terry returned with more wood. And it seemed in moments they had a camp set up, food cooking, this time a vegetable stew with ingredients from Waylon's surprise pack and Wayne's duffel bag. Wayne found matches and made a fire, and they sat around it, waiting for the stew to cook. Drinking hot chocolate Waylon had picked up at a truck stop along with 3 cups and bottles of water. Oh, man, this brings back memories, doesn't it? Wayne leaned back on an elbow and sipped the chocolate. You guys go tripping a lot? Terry asked. Waylon laughed. That's the wrong term. Truckin'. We went truckin'. Trippin' was using drugs. Wayne nodded. We did that too. Man, we tripped on all kinds of drugs. After we came back, I don't think I was straight for 2 years. For 2 or 3 years. Back from where? The Nam. We were in Vietnam. Both men became quiet, looking at the fire, and Waylon spoke quietly. Yeah, we pulled tours in the Nam. That's where we started tripping. They had drugs there and that would sour your mind, man. Make you think you were inside out. Wayne sighed, remembering. All bad, Waylon said. All that crap. Even when it was cool to do it, drugs sucked. Even when we did it, it was the stupid thing to do. There were garbage heads running around turning kids on that writer and his acid trip bus, Timothy Leary, and everybody thought it was cool, but it wasn't. It kills everything. Did then and does now. Just crap. A mosquito fought the smoke and landed on Terry's neck, and he brushed it away. Did you guys go to Vietnam together and then just stay together afterward? We worked with each other over in country, Wayne said, but not afterward. I bought baby when I came home and hit the road and didn't see Waylon for 4 or 5 months, or was it more? 6, Waylon said, almost 7. Then we went trucking together. On bikes? Just baby, the 2 of us. Terry looked at the flames for a time, thinking of what they'd said, the war, the bike, drugs. It all swirled together. Then he remembered Waylon hitting the 2 men in the gas station. Is that where you learned to do that? He asked. You know, those 2 guys you hit. Did you learn that in Vietnam? Neither man said anything, and Terry realized he had asked something he shouldn't have, and took a sip of his chocolate, which was getting cold. I didn't mean to say anything wrong, I just didn't know. Waylon looked up sharply. You know who Robert E. Lee was? Terry nodded, glad to at last know something. He fought for the South in the Civil War. Right. He commanded the South. You know what he said? He said, "It is well war is so terrible, we should get too fond of it." What does that mean? It means Wayne cut in, standing up. It's time to eat. And that was the end of the conversation for the night. When they finished eating, they rolled out foam pads near the tent, let the fire die down, and each slid inside his bag. Terry was using his windbreaker for a pillow and couldn't get it quite right, and kept moving it around to find the most comfortable position. At last he folded and refolded it, and then lay looking at the red coals of the fire. Waylon and Wayne were breathing heavily and evenly, and he thought they were asleep. At last he felt his eyes closing, the warmth of coals making him drowsy, when Waylon spoke softly. "You're starting to learn." "What?" "You're starting to want to know things, more things. You ask questions, pushed." "That's good. That's how you learn." Then he was silent, his breathing smoothed, and Terry closed his eyes and let sleep come. And that was chapter 14.